And welcome to World Now. Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Rishi Sunak, has congratulated Nigeria's President-elect, Bola Tinubu, for winning the country's election. In a post on Twitter, Mr. Sunak said he looks forward to working with Nigeria to grow the two countries' security and trade. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom also tweeted, quote, "Trade ties opening up opportunities." As declared by the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu secured a total of 8,794,926 votes. And Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party got the second highest figure with 6,984,520 votes, while Peter Obi of the Labour Party was next with 6,101,533 votes. Let's talk this through by speaking on the just concluded elections and the emergence of Ahmed Bola Tinubu as president-elect is a former mayoral candidate, Nims Obunge. Thank you so much for joining us on World Now.
It's a privilege to be with you. Thank you for having me.
How significant is these congratulatory messages from Rishi Sunak and Emmanuel Macron, some of these world leaders, to the president-elect, Bola Tinubu?
I think it's important that Nigeria remains at the front and center of global politics, and it is right that the leaders of world nations, global nations, appreciate and welcome the position of the president-elect. However, there are deeper concerns, I think, that we must confront as Nigerians. I think that we must be concerned that about 87 million people were registered to vote in a nation of over 225 million people, and only about 25 million voted. And whether that is by virtue of voter suppression or the fear or whatever reasons, we've got to recognize that the mandate to be president of Nigeria must come from the Nigerian people. So there is a voice that needs to be given to Nigerians. We have millions of people that did not vote or whose votes were lost. And I think we must concern ourselves about the future of that as a great nation. We're going to be in a few years' time, maybe the third largest populous country on the face of this earth. And so we cannot afford to have an economy or an electorate that fails to participate in such a major thing as our presidential elections.
Well, the UK Prime Minister also said he looks forward to working together to grow security and trade ties, opening up opportunities for businesses and creating prosperity in both countries. So let's look at this separately. Nigeria is facing security challenges from kidnapping, banditry, as well as herder farmers' clashes, among others. In what way do you think the United Kingdom can collaborate with the Tinubu administration in addressing these security challenges?
Well, a number of years ago, I was invited to the Foreign Office, and I met with the then Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Hammond, and we had a private conversation. Well, he called me aside, and at that time, there was no put a submission to very senior people within the government, and unfortunately, nothing like this came to play. So when we say what can happen, we need to ensure that whether the president-elect, whoever is in the United Kingdom and other nations of the sort, we are part of the Commonwealth. We have the Commonwealth app, dare I say, that allows us to explore partnerships with Commonwealth nations and strengthen those partnerships. On the issue of security, we have, I was in Nigeria for a period of time working on the United Nations project called the Hydrocarbon Pollution Restoration Project, and I was leading the doubt. I have here in front of me the 2023 Legatum Prosperity Index, which was just launched by Kemi Badenoch, the Secretary of State for Business and Industry here in the United Kingdom. And I want to point out some different nations that on this prosperity index. And unfortunately, whilst Denmark would sit at the top. Of 162 nations that we've looked at, Ghana is somewhere within 140 some. No, sorry, dare I say, Ghana is about 100. No, it's about 80 something. But Nigeria is 143. It's just under Myanmar in relation to our prosperity index. And there are certain indices that they're looking at, from safety and security, personal freedom, governance, social capital, investment, an investment environment, enterprise, infrastructure, marketing, economic policy, living conditions, health, education, and a natural environment. Now, on the investment and an investment environment for the United Kingdom, I think we've got to look at these indices that determine the prosperity of nations.
Quite interesting enough, Mr. Tinubu himself acknowledged the positive reaction by the stock market to his victory. His supporters also portray him as an effective administrator who improved roads, trash collection, and other services in the chaotic city of Lagos during his tenure. So how optimistic are these industries, these very important industries in this regard?
Well, you see, one thing I think we've got to accept here is, much as, again, with our President-elect, Mr. Tinubu, or Jagaban, as he's often referred to, much as we see him in position, he made a statement on his victory speech that he needs to work collaboratively with others. I hope this was not a political rhetoric, because we have very significant economic leaders that sit within. But when the winner takes all, he seeks to only enrich those within his loyalist camp. But Nigeria needs something greater than that. We need a leader who is able to look beyond those who voted for him, and is able to look beyond the industries and those that got behind him, but start looking at the wider picture for Nigeria to thrive. And it's great that, yes, whilst the stock market might have gone up because there's a sense of stability, and there's that fear, there was a fear that Nigeria would erupt in violence. But though his camp and maybe Atiku's camp may go to the courts to discuss or to determine whether there was significant levels of rigging or not. But as it stands, it is so important that the president-elect understands his responsibility to build the market. He's done, people have said he did a great job in Lagos as governor twice over. Now let us see what he will do for us as a nation after the 29th of May, because the role of the president-elect or select is to make sure Nigeria thrives. And we have suffered deeply. In my lifetime, 1 naira was £1. It's a disgrace where we are today.
Absolutely. It shows that there's a lot of work to be done by the incoming administration as soon as it takes over power from March the 29th. Nims Obunge,